by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
American detainees held in North Korea have arrived home. I'm Mo Lalengi at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland, where President Trump personally greeted the three men.
And is being born in the state of Montana a requirement to run for office in the state? You might think so if you watch some candidate TV ads. Coming up, where the current crop of Senate Republicans candidates comes from.
Good morning, 6:31 on this Thursday. Chet Lim and Missy O'Malley with you here. Our top story this half hour. President Trump began his day very early this morning with a celebration of sorts.
That's right. He traveled to Maryland to greet three American citizens just released by North Korea. Mo Lalengi has her latest from Joint Base Andrews.
President Trump greeted the three freed Americans at Joint Base Andrews early this morning.
It was a very important thing to all of us to be able to get these three great people out.
North Korea released Tony Kim, Kim Dong-chul, and Kim Hak-sung after holding them on various charges for over a year. The men appear to be in good health. During a refueling stop in Alaska, the former detainees released a statement thanking the president, the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and the American people for bringing them home. It was Pompeo who finalized their release during his second meeting with Kim in 6 weeks. They also discussed plans for a summit between President Trump and the North Korean leader.
We have a meeting scheduled in a very short period of time. You'll be hearing about it soon. We have the location set.
Sources tell CBS News that the Trump administration is now planning for the summit to be held in Singapore, but no official announcement has been made. At a White House cabinet meeting, the president warned everything is subject to change.
Everything can be scuttled. Everything can be scuttled. Doesn't mean a lot of things can happen. A lot of good things can happen. A lot of bad things can happen.
On Wednesday, North Korea's state-run media mentioned the upcoming summit for the first time. Mo Lalengi, CBS News, Joint Base Andrews.
Senate Minority Leader Democrat Chuck Schumer celebrated the detainees' return, but warned, quote, North Korea shouldn't gain by taking Americans and then releasing them.
We're going to continue to follow that story again. Flooding has been topping headlines here in the state of Montana. Officials with Butte-Silverbow have issued a statement recommending that residents of Melrose prepare for minor flooding that may start as early as the 12th. Flooding expected to threaten life and property a few hours after the onset of heavy rain or snowmelt. Sand and sandbags will be available to the public at no charge at the Melrose Fire Hall. Officials are recommending that residents move stock, farm equipment, and feed from low-lying areas in that. Again, Matt, everything kind of moving downstream, so we're starting to see from western Montana moving into southwestern Montana.
And right on cue, we've been talking about the possibility of this big hole at Melrose is right now at action stage, and we're continuing to heed that advice, I hope. Across the area, you can see most of western Montana dealing with some sort of a flood advisory for parts of the area. We're going to continue to monitor that. We'll also talk about some of the river levels here in just a little bit. Our temperatures right now into the 40s for most of us, 30 degrees in West Yellowstone. The showers have moved out for now. Later this afternoon, we'll see more showers and thunderstorms trying to develop across the area. A few of those actually producing or have the possibility of producing some fairly heavy downpours. We'll talk more about some rainfall numbers that might be expected, plus your complete forecast. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. It is now 6:34 here on your Thursday. In Montana's four-man Republican U.S. Senate primary, how and when the candidates came to Big Sky Country has been an issue on the campaign trail. MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison takes a closer look how one's residency is shaping up for the contest, which Republican will take on Democrat John Tester this fall.
Former State District Judge Russ Fagg of Billings has been saying it from the start of his campaign. He's a Montana native with deep roots in the state, and that will help him in the general election against Senator Tester.
I've been here all my life. My ancestors have been here. And then, like I said, it just takes that issue off the table in November. You know, John cannot say, I'm a rich out-of-stater who moved to Montana to try to begin my political career, like he can with Matt or Troy.
Matt is State Auditor Matt Rosendale, who moved to Montana 16 years ago from Maryland to a ranch near Glendive. Troy is businessman Troy Downing, who bought property at Big Sky almost 20 years ago and has lived there since 2009. Downing also is facing misdemeanor charges that he bought resident Montana hunting licenses when he technically was a non-resident, charges he says are false. Downing, originally from California, says he's a dedicated Montanan who cares deeply about where he now calls home.
Nobody is voting for my great-grandmother. Nobody's voting for, somebody else's great-grandfather. What is it between your ears that resonates with your community, with your state, with your neighbors? And I think that's what's important.
Rosendale says what matters is how the candidate aligns with Montanans' wishes, and that's how he'd contrast himself this fall with Senator Tester, who's a Montana native.
John Tester brought us Obamacare. John Tester voted against tax cuts for Montanans. I think that Montana values are what the people are going to be voting for. And John has demonstrated that he has gone Washington, and he doesn't represent those values.
But Fagg isn't the only Montana native among the Republicans in this contest. State Senator and Kalispell surgeon Al Olszewski grew up in Great Falls. He says he's glad to tell people he's from Montana, but doesn't see it as a big deal.
Whether you're a native that's been here for 4 or 5 generations, or you just moved here 181 days ago, if you love Montana and you want to do what's right and try to build Montana to make it better, then you're a Montanan.
So who is the real Montanan, who can best represent the full breadth of the Big Sky? Does it matter where you were born or when you got here? Republican voters will render their verdict by June 5th. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Now those absentee ballots will be mailed out this Friday.
Other headlines this morning, Bozeman's Public Works Director Craig Woolard announced last week that he's leaving his position after nearly 6 years with the department, but he's not going very far. Woolard has accepted a position as the department chair and professor with the Civil Engineering Department at Montana State University. For the past 6 years, Woolard has looked after the city's infrastructure, managing upkeep of things like the city roads, bridges, and sewers. Now, though he has loved working with the Public Works Department, he hopes he can bring what he's learned over the years to his students.
Well, I think as the Public Works Director, you're exposed to, really all facets of infrastructure and civil engineering. And so there's a lot of experience there that I think will be beneficial, and I'm eager to share with the next generation of engineers.
Finish up his time with Public Works at the end of May and will begin his duties at MSU this fall. City Manager Andrea Surratt has appointed Development Engineer Sean Coates to serve as the Interim Director of Public Works.
An historic statue that has stood in front of the Butte Courthouse for decades is getting a new home. MTN's John Amy was there for the big move.
Moving an 800-pound statue is no easy task. But the crew was able to get this historic Butte statue of a World War II soldier off his feet and into a warmer location.
He's had a lot of cold winters out here, and he deserves to be honored inside our courthouse.
The sculpture, called the Jungle Fighter, was erected in 1943 to honor those fighting in the Second World War. It first stood near Butte High School and later moved to Stodden Park before relocating on the front steps of the Butte Courthouse about 18 years ago. The statue is now being moved to the rotunda of the courthouse to protect it from further damage from the elements. Plus, the city needs to make room so it can repair the courthouse steps.
This year we've got budget authority to replace the steps in front of the courthouse, pull them out, fix the base underneath, replace the granite steps, and fix the top landing of the steps. So it's the perfect time to do everything all at once.
The crew from Markovich Construction finally got the big guy back on his feet. And for veterans groups, this is more than just a cool statue. It represents the sacrifices that young Butte men made during World War II.
He represented the high school kids that went into World War II and saved our nation. And he represents the people who didn't come back.
Preserving their memory. In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
And a big pat on the back and props
to Markovich Construction for moving that statue free of charge for the city. So that was nice of them to do.
That was very nice.
Not an easy task.
Because it's cold out there. We got to make sure he's nice and warm.
It'll be awesome when it's done to have him back up.
Absolutely.
Up there, so.
All sturdy steps, too.
Yep.
That'll be very helpful.
Yep.
We're so glad you're with us on this Thursday morning. Coming up after a short break, we sit down with one of the candidates for Senate. Troy Downing is with us in the studio when we return with Dr. David Parker.
But first, let's check in with Nora O'Donnell for a look at what's coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Ahead here on CBS This Morning, we have the overnight return of the 3 Americans who were held captive in North Korea. Margaret Brennan just spoke with Vice President Pence about their release and what it means for negotiations. We'll see you right at 7.